You're in front of the Israeli School, Universal Practical Knowledge, the Philadelphia Division, here at 3226 Cheltenham Avenue in Philadelphia. We're standing in front of the school right now, getting a description of the 12 tribe sign that's been painted by one of the brothers that was in the school: Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar. Those are the 12 tribes of Israel.
Shalom. Shalom. You've been waiting for this day, so this day has finally come. A lot of you have been wondering where this knowledge that you've been hearing is coming from, and the powerful truth that you've been hearing, how this was established. Well, we finally were able to arrange for the priests to come down from New York and spend some time with us. And I'd like to introduce them if I can. These are some great brothers. We're very glad to have them with us. We want to make them feel as warm as possible, because this is their work and the extension of their work and what they've laid down some time ago. I'd like to introduce, first of all, priest and Sixth Shield General, 4th in command in the nation of Israel, Lahab. I'd like to salute this brother, Majo. Barak. Yeshabiam, which means sit. And I'm going to turn it over now to Priest General Lahab.
Water, brother. I'd like to say this, starting off, we're very impressed at your school here, and we're very impressed to see that the brothers and sisters in Philadelphia think enough of the Most High and the Bible and the truth and your nationality to be a part of this, because most of the brothers and sisters are running from the truth.
Shalom. This is to all Israelite groups and all Israelite communities and all breakoffs from One West and breakoffs from breakoffs from breakoffs from breakoffs. No matter what rainbow uniform you wear, red, white, purple and white, all white, it don't matter. You should all treat the ISUPK like your weird, misunderstood Sabbaths. You shouldn't do anything until you counsel with the ISUPK. We'll tell you when and what to eat. We'll tell you who to marry. We'll tell you who to have sex with and how. We'll tell you how to resolve conflicts with your wives. We'll tell you how to resolve conflicts with your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your friends, everybody. We'll tell you when and how to pray. We'll tell you how to direct your life in a way that's pleasing to the Most High God of Israel and our Black King Yahushua, a.k.a. Jesus Christ. We will be to you instead of a God. Just like the Most High told Moses in Exodus 4:16 that Aaron would be to him instead of a mouth and he would be to Aaron instead of a God, that's what we'll do for you. It is what you all need, because none of you know what the fuck you are doing. I pray you understand. Shalom.
Let me figure out how to do that. Let's take that off. Shalom, 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 Israel. Yahweh Shem Yahshua, Barakatah to the brothers. Yahweh Shemar Latah Bahashem Yahweh Shah to the sisters. We are the ISUPK. Start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. And what we do every single day, right, multiple times a day, we teach Blacks, Native Americans, Hispanics, who they are according to the truth, according to this Bible, according to the Most High God. We teach you who you are, right? You got a lot of individuals believing that Black folk can't be, Native Americans can't be, Hispanics can't be the true people of God. And they get to teaching us that. And once they get to teaching us that, we start and continue to believe it, right? So this is the Monday night history class. And the title of this class is Blacks Are People. When I say Blacks, I mean Blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics are dogs returning to their own vomit, right? And before I get to explaining what I mean by that, right, we're going to pull the scripture up, right, and let you know that this is Proverbs, right? So we're going to jump to Proverbs 26 and 11, right, just to show you that what it means to return to your own, just to me, what it means to return to your own vomit, right? 26 and 11, right? So, like I said, I'm Officer Abawan. You know, usually it's myself and Officer Shayawan together on the Monday night history class for you good people. But, you know, he chose to bless me. My Abawan chose to bless me tonight and allow me to take over the class by myself. So, Proverbs 26 and 11 reads, as a dog returneth to his vomit, so is a fool returneth to his own folly. Now, what we have to understand as Blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics, that returning to our own folly. What is returning to our own folly, and how have we returned to our own folly, right? And for those that don't know what folly means, it's foolishness or stupidness, right? Dumb crap. That's what it is. It is those type of things. You're returning to the same crap you did a long time ago, right? And what I mean is that think about what's been going on in our Black community, right? We're thinking about what's going on in our Black community. And what's going on in our Black community, we see the church, the pastor has been pimping since the beginning of slavery. The pastor has been pimping. And then when slavery ended, what did the pastor do? Pimp harder. He pimped harder because now the pastor got Bentleys and mansions and airplanes, right? You got pastors talking about, you can't give me $1,200, you got to give me $2,000, right? For people who don't have it, right? You're getting pimped by the pastor, and would get pimped by the pastor, and then you go and return to that pastor the next week, and the week after, and the week after. And when you finally die, and it's game over for you, when you finally die of old age, your family have to pay that pastor so that you can have your funeral services in that church, when it should be free, because you've given tithes for 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years of tithe giving. And the pastor say, I can't allow you to have your funeral in my church because it costs money. And the reason why it costs money, because now you got to understand these pastors work under a nonprofit. So they don't pay taxes on this money. That's all cash money. They go to them. They go in their pocket, right? And what you do is you take that money and you put it right back into the pastor pocket. And with our leadership continues to say, okay, it's all good for the pastor to have this and for the pastor to have that, but what about the people? Right? The pastor is supposed to protect the Black community, right? He's supposed to protect the Black community, for one. How is he protecting the Black community when you got pastors not even helping individuals with food, with clothing, right? The ISUPK just had the Midwest Fire Weekend, And during that Midwest Fire Weekend, food and clothing drives, right? Expungement programs. They're helping the community get out the hole. But you don't want to see us help our people get out the hole. Nobody wants to see us help our people get out the hole. Because why? Because if we were to all turn and say, you know what, we're going to follow the teachings of the Most High God, right? We're going to get under this leadership of Commanding General Yohana. You're going to see brotherhood. You start to see sisterhood. You start to see houses come back together, right? You don't have baby mama living over there and baby daddy living over there. Now you got husband and wife in the same house, and they ain't leaving each other, right? That's what you'll see. You'll see, even if the husband and wife is not in the same household, they're still walking around as family. They're not walking around as a divorced couple looking for other families to form family with, right? The pastor teaches you that, oh, sister, if you don't want that man, you can just go divorce him and go get you another man, when the Bible speaks against divorce. Or what he'll do is you'll have private counsel. You'll have some private counsel with the pastor. And with having private counsel with the pastor, guess what happens? Now it goes from private counsel to private parts touching, counseling each other, right? When you go into counsel, right, as a couple's counsel, if you go into marriage counsel, isn't the husband and wife supposed to be there? That's marriage counsel. Now it's going to be some counsel that you should be required to take on your own. You may need some counseling about some certain things, right? It depends on the situation. It depends on the individual. But when you take counsel in the ISUPK, your leadership is not trying to slide in on your wife. When you get counsel in the UPK, the leadership is not telling that husband, oh man, you could just divorce her and get you another wife, right? Think about this. So like I was saying, the Black pastors, Black community, pastors were supposed to protect the children. We have, who is this? Too many Bishop Eddie Longs, right? Pastor's supposed to teach. What is he supposed to teach, right? He's supposed to teach, let's say, he's supposed to teach the Bible. And the Bible speaks against homosexuality. The Bible speaks against homosexuality. And with the Bible speaking against homosexuality, what are your Bishop Eddie Longs? What are your TD Jakes? What are they doing? Look at every single time you turn on the television, almost every single time you turn on the television, there's a news article about some pastor who is sexually taking advantage of children, right? Or some pastor ended up in the back seat with a 14-year-old boy. Or you got some pastor getting caught with a can I say transgender? I think I can say that. That's the common word. A LGBTQ member. I can say that. Some pastor getting caught up with an LGBTQ member, right? What else you have? You got them teaching. You got pastors teaching you false doctrine, right? You got pastors teaching you false doctrine, and then with the Black community being so aligned with poor leadership, it spreads off into them leading you into other things to have poor leadership, right? Think about this. The Black pastors had Black people help support the civil rights movement, right? What did the civil rights movement? This was another form of leadership, right? And the thing about it is, with returning to your own vomit, we continue to go back to the black pastors. We continue to go back to that black pastor that what is it when Eddie Long was giving his when his accusations came out, and he said, oh no, we're not going to talk about the accusations. We're going to bring you the word of God. Well, you should have brought yourself to God without touching that little boy a long time ago. And it wasn't one boy, it was multiple boys that Eddie Long had relations with, right? When the accusations came out about TD Jakes, the first thing he do is get on in the pulpit and ask, have you ever been swallowed? What's wrong with you? You're still suffering from sexual deviance, right? And these black pastors will do a couple things, right? They put the mothers on the mother's board, right? And these women is telling people what to do and have preaching sermons. And you got the first lady up there, she's over the mother's board, and she's preaching sermons and teaching the people when the Bible tell you in Timothy, suffer not a woman to teach, right? But we keep going back to this, which keep causing our destruction and downfall. Right, we're praying on our own downfall. You want to put it in rap lyrics, right? You're praying on your own downfall. We're praying on your own downfall. You mean you're setting yourself up for failure, right? We're setting yourself up for failure. What happens when you set yourself up for failure? Use this. Yeah, there's no charge on that. What happens when you set yourself up for failure, right? You go in a hole. You go in a hole, right? And with going in a hole, what ends up happening is, how did I do that? What ends up happening is, if you go in a hole by yourself, how you gonna get out? Right? You in a hole by yourself, how do you go out? So these black pastors teaching us to follow these, super strong and the independent black women, right? These homosexual pastors teaching us to follow these independent black women, which teach us to follow mainstream movements like the civil rights movement and the NAACP, when it was a Caucasian woman that ran the NAACP posing as a black girl. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember how can you be pro-black and you following the leadership of your colored organization of a person that's not black, Native American, or Hispanic, right? So we started to follow these, and we take the position here in the ISUPK, like, people call us more radical, but I think it's authentic, right? This is what we're supposed to do. We established, we don't want to follow this civil rights movement, right? We don't imply that the NAACP is a group that will work and cooperate with us. We don't believe in that, right? We're not pursuing to be together with other nations, right? We want to be separate from y'all. You have your spot, we have our spot, we good, right? If we got to do business, we can do business. It's areas where we can do business together, right? But you have your area, think about this, black folk. You have, when you have a place where it's predominantly black people, and you have one white person come around, what happens there? Anybody know the answer to that? Let me give a shout out to the people in the chat. Got Carolyn, got Ashabana, and Miss Tawanda. Hello. I had to speak especially to her. Yahweh Shemarla Thai by Hashem Yahweh Sai sisters. I'm glad y'all came and checked in. If y'all got some questions, give me a holla at. Put something in there. We gonna answer it. If I can't answer it, guess what? I'm gonna get some brother over me. I'm gonna spit the question to him, and he gonna answer it. That's how we do in ISUPK. We don't make stuff up, right? So if you got anything y'all want to say, go ahead and say it. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe to the class, to all the classes. Let's help our people. Let's get these algorithms going, right? So that we can do what? Clean up our own cities. Oh, there go Mother Maria. Maria just checked in. Yahweh Shem Hashem, Yahweh Shai sister. Right. So look, they have pushed we keep believing that these right wing and left wings are on our team. We get out and vote. Puffy said, vote or die. Right? Think about this, y'all. This is the history class. So I'm not even going to talk about, well, right now, the sexual deviancies of Puffy. I'm going to talk about what he did for the Black community. He told the Black community to go vote or die. Right? That's what he told us, to vote or die. And when he told us to vote or die, we was voting for individuals that was promoting our downfall. Like for those that got out there and voted for what's his name? Michelle's husband, Obama. For those that voted for Obama, explain to me, what did Obama do for the Black community? And we continue to follow these so-called Black leaders. And one is, Obama wasn't Black. He was a stinking ass African. He wasn't even Black, right? He told the people that he don't subscribe to, or, and I'm paraphrasing, or understand the history of his wife, the chattel slavery that his wife's people went through, because his people didn't go through. You know why his people didn't go through that? Because his people sold. Think about this. Barack Obama's people sold Michelle Obama's people into slavery. How is that not a house divided? How is that not a house divided? Barack Obama, President Barack Obama, his people, his ancestors sold Michelle Obama's, First Lady of the United States back whenever, sold the husband's people, sold the wife's people into chattel slavery. How many households do we see like that across America right now? Right? Would you, ladies, would you go out, marry a guy who's constantly picking off, killing, mutilating, sexually assaulting your family? But you marry a guy that do, you got some women out there that do it. We see it all the time. But think about this. Think about it logically. Would you marry a man? And you know, that's something else that we constantly go back through, where a woman is marrying a man or is married to a man that is abusing her family, whether it be mentally, physically, sexually. He's abusing her family, right? What you think these PDFs do to their family? These men as PDFs, what you think they do to their wife's family? That's the same thing that went on in China, in slavery, right? And we still continue to do this thing. We return back to our vomits. And guess what? You ever see a dog throw up, right? He eat too much. And he throw all his food up. And after he throw his food up, he go back to eating the vomit. When, you know, sometimes it's tough to be around somebody that's sick and vomiting, right? You know, you got the sounds, the smells. It's tough to be around somebody that's vomiting. You have to go out like, man, you go ahead and finish that up and clean it up when you're done. I don't want to be around it. But us continue to follow this leadership that we following, us. And I'm gonna give you some more scriptures, right, of issues of bad leadership that's in the Bible. We're gonna see multiple issues of bad leadership. And every time we have bad leadership, the issue becomes the people. God looks at us as a whole. So we are being destroyed as a whole because we're taking on bad leadership, right? And then we go and take on some more bad leadership. Like when Bishop Eddie Long was finally unalived by the Most High God, they put another LGBTQ pastor, that same church put another LGBTQ pastor over them. Right? Then when the allegations came out about TD Jakes, about how he was, at the P. Diddy parties, when those allegations came out, all he did was step down and give his church, right? Tell his daughter she the pastor of the church now. These pastors haven't read any scriptures, right? They haven't read any scriptures. And we keep flowing to them and going to them by the thousands. Where was the church during COVID? Where was the church during COVID? Because I can tell you what the ISUPK was. We still was holding classes. We still was holding classes. We still was handing out food. We still was handing out clothes. Right? Where was the church during COVID? I'll wait. Somebody can answer. Y'all can text me. Y'all got my number. Where was the church during COVID? It wasn't helping the people. It wasn't helping you, right? Where was the church during we'll go back. We'll take it back. We'll take it way back. Where was the church during the Jim Crow, right? Was the church telling you to separate from your oppressor? Because Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. And it was some BS. I'm trying to watch my mouth, ladies and gentlemen. It was some BS. His dream was some BS. All he wanted to do was get some whitetail. He could have got a rabbit. But all he wanted to do was get some whitetail. And that's why he had a dream that his kids going to be judged by their character, and I'm paraphrasing, and not their, what do you say, by their character and not the color of their skin. And Martin Luther King ain't read the Bible. And we still went back to follow his leadership. Right? We still believe in his leadership today. We put a statue. We pushed to put a statue up to Martin Luther King, right? We pushed to tear down these Confederate statues. No, I say, me personally, this is not the ISUPK view, but this is my personal view. All that Confederate flag, all that Confederacy, all that racial stuff, let it stay up. That way I know how to navigate through America. Right? I know to navigate through America like, ooh, they don't go over there. Oh, okay. All right. There's black folk over there. I can go over there. I can do that. It helps you navigate easier through America. And with helping you navigate easier through America, now you don't have individuals like Nolan Wells, right? And like I was saying earlier, when black folk go out and it's majority black folk and there's a white person there, they're almost protective of that white person. They don't want nothing to happen to that white person because you know what's going to happen. The police going to come in there and take everybody to jail, right? Take everybody to jail. But when the roles are reversed, when it's one black person amongst multiple whites, the black person usually don't come back alive. The black person go missing. And guess what the white folk do? They team up. They gang up, right? They get lawyers immediately. As soon as you start to question them, I'm lawyer. The police knock on their door, lawyer. You can't even ask. They understand the laws are made for them. They understand this justice is made for them, right? We go into the court systems like Carmelo Anthony's people did. We thinking that having an all-white jury gonna be good for us. And a white lawyer who didn't even contest having an all-white jury. Man, think about this, right? Think about this. Carmelo Anthony's people, his mother and father thought it was okay for him to have a white attorney, right? And have an all-white jury, and this white attorney didn't contest it. But then later you see pictures where they're all together, right? They're all together. Let's continue. Right? You got black politician figures, black celebrities, right? We got these black celebrities, right? These black celebrities, You got these black celebrities that like we did talking about vote or die. We're following celebrities. We are the only nation, blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics. We the only people that follow the leadership and guidance of celebrities. Why? Why do you want to follow an entertainer? His job is to entertain you, right? You follow a clown, you're going to get a pat in your face. Bars. You follow a clown, you're going to get a pat in your face. Why? Because clowns slap each other in the face with pies. What are clowns? Entertainers. So every time we follow the leadership of these entertainers, we get a pie right to the face. Right? You ever have somebody, you ever get cake or something in your eyes? You know, these people celebrate birthdays and weddings and all that kind of stuff, and they smash the cake in their face, right? You ever get icing in your eyes? Ask the person who got icing in their eyes, how does that feel? It doesn't feel good. The icing burns. Think about the sugar and the milk, right? If you want to know how it feels, mix sugar, egg, and milk, and some lemon flavoring or some vanilla extract, right? Mix that together, right? Whip it up real good and put it in your eye. It burns, and then you can't see, and you have to keep flushing and flushing because that cake and that oil and that egg, all that stuff is thick. So it takes time for that water to flush it out. But guess what? We keep all right. We follow Puffy. Puffy said vote or die. Then what was that artist that was following Trump? Was it Cardi B or Nicki Minaj? One of them, I get them mixed up. You know, now it's time for us to follow Cardi B and Nicki Minaj and see which president we put in office, right? It failed us before. You don't remember last time? It failed us before. Why you don't remember the last time it failed us? We should remember it this time, right? Think about this one. So what's going to happen in the next election? You're going to have these politicians get some more entertainers behind them. And it's only for the black vote. It ain't for the white vote. Chinese people don't give a damn about voting. What they do is they care about greenbacks. That's what Chinese people care about, greenbacks. That's why all their hair places and they nail places and they Chinese places. Think about this. You got hair depots and what they call them, hair care places, beauty supply stores. You got beauty supply stores in your community that makes millions and millions of dollars without any promotion, without any media, without any commercial media, any commercial promoting, right? I don't really see billboards for any of these Chinese food places. If anybody has ever seen a Chinese food billboard, send me a picture, right? If they have a billboard, it's a sign on their building where they're selling you the Chinese food. If they have a billboard for the beauty supply place, it's a sign on their building, right? And understand, with these communities that you see these Chinese billboards, I mean, not billboards, but these hair care places, these beauty supply places, these nail places, these, what is that? The Chinese food places, they work in your community, but they don't live there. Right. You stop at that store and that liquor store, and that Arab will sell you all of the Philly Blunts and the Black and Miles and the whatever it is he got in there. They're selling weed out the stores now in the city. They're selling weed out the stores. They'll sell you all that stuff out the store. But guess what you don't see? You don't see they living with you. You don't see their kids walking down the street to the same store, walking down the street to the same gas station, walking down the street to the same schools. You don't see that. You don't see that with the Chinese. You don't see the Chinese kids going to your school, right? You don't even see the Chinese person after he leaves the store. I was asking somebody the other day, where do Chinese people get gas from? It got to be somewhere where we don't have a membership to, because I've never seen an Asian person get gas before. If I ever see it, I'm gonna take a video. I'm gonna take a picture And I'm gonna pass it out because I'm like, look, I seen an Asian person get gas, right? Let's put some scriptures behind this right now. When I go over some of these scriptures, what you have to understand is that when we wanted leadership, right? We wanted a king over us. Israel wanted a king over them like the other nations had, right? And, you know, what was the prophet then? Samuel? He was saying, oh, you know, is that another thing? And then the Lord finally said, all right, you can have a king, right? And the king was chosen, right? But understand this. King Saul was the first king of Israel. What did Saul do? What did he do wrong? He disobeyed God by offering a sacrifice he wasn't even authorized to have. He disobeyed God by offering a sacrifice he wasn't even authorized to have, right? And Samuel wasn't. What else did he do? He rejected God's commandment. He's supposed to destroy the Amalekites. That's what he's supposed to do. And guess what that caused us to do? Every time we got a leader or following a leader that is not following the Most High God, that we start to get destroyed. Think about who the Amalekites are now. The Amalekites are those Ashkenazi, those Jewishes. Them Jewishes, that's who they are now. Them Jewishes, what do they control? They control your media. They control your diamond district, right? And with them controlling the media, right? They control the media. So we used to make songs like "We All in the Same Game," you know, put your people together. Hip hop, especially hip hop. We used to make love songs, right? Love songs, telling, you know, oh baby, I love you. Who was that? Williams, right? We used to make love songs. Now, you know, it went from making love songs to, you know, hit that, quit that. I'll leave it at that. Hit that, quit that. Bend over, let me smack it. Let me get it real quick. From love songs, right? We used to make songs like "Come Together." Our people need to come together. We used to make songs like, you know, "Black Man Go to College." You had Tribe Called Quest and what's the people that made Tennessee? Remember the song Tennessee? I forget his name. Right? But we made songs about Black folk coming up, you know, self-destruction, right? We made those type of songs that brought us together. We all in the same game, right? Now is you got King Von took her to the O, right? You got multiple songs about who was that? Fulio. Fulio made songs about made a song about unaliving some brothers and urinating on the grave, and then them brothers came back and unalived him. Well, the brothers' friends that he unalived, they partners came back and unalived them. Think about the rap beef you get in your neighborhood. Why is that? Because what we're doing is we're following the leadership of individuals that do not have our best interest in hand, right? So we're about to go to 1 Samuel. We go to 1 Samuel 13 and 8. What did I put my scriptures at? 1 Samuel 13 and 8. I'll just do this. That ain't it. Yeah, that was it. Go to 1 Samuel 13 and 8, right? So we're going to 1 Samuel 13 and 8. And we're going to continue down a little bit so you can get the contents of what false leadership, bad leadership about us. And the reason why I named this class is Blacks are dogs returning to their own vomit, because we keep putting bad leadership back up over us. And we think that it's going to work. We do the same thing over and over again, expecting success when it's a failure, right? 1 Samuel 1. What did I say? Oh, y'all making me lose my train of thought. 1 Samuel 13:8, right? Yeah, 13:8. 1 Samuel 13:8. And what this is going to show you, what this is going to show you is how having bad leadership will cause the entire nation to fall. Having bad leadership will have judgment cast upon all of us. 13 start at 8. It says, and I got the wrong version. I'll do this. I got to make sure I get the King James version, y'all. They was trying to trick me. They was trying to trick me. I can't use all that other stuff. I got to use the right one. 1 Samuel 13:8. Because I don't want you going back saying, Abawan said that the Bible say this, that, and other thing, blah, 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 blah. That, no. Abawan teach what his brothers above him teach. Right? So this is what it says. This is 1 Samuel 13:8. It says, and he tarried 7 days according to the set time that Samuel had appointed. But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. Verse 9. And Saul said, bring hither a burnt offering to me. Matter of fact, for y'all to get the context, let me back it up some. We'll go to 4. And it says, this is 1 Samuel 13:4. And it says, and all Israel hear that Saul has smitten a garrison of the Philistines, right? So what you got to understand, a garrison is like a little small army that people leave for protection, right? A garrison of the Philistines, and that Israel also had an abomination with the Philistines, right? And the people were called together after Saul to Gilgal, verse 5. And the Philistines gathered together to fight with Israel, 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, and people as the sand which is of the seashore. And they came up and pitched in Mishmash, eastern of Bethaven. Verse 6. When the men of Israel saw that when the men of Israel saw that they were in a strait, for the people were distressed, right? And the people did hide themselves in caves. So, the people of Israel running and hiding in caves, and in thickets, and in rocks, and in the high places, and in pits. Verse 7. So think about it. Now our people scattered. Our people scattered around. Verse 7. And some of the Hebrews went over to Jordan and the land of Gad and Gilead. As for Saul, he was not in Gilgal, and all the people followed him trembling. So we following this leadership, we shaking in our boots. Verse 8, and he tarried 7 days according to the set time that Paul had appointed him. Right? But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. Verse 9, think about this. So Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. Verse 9, and Saul said, bring hither a burnt offering to me and a peace offering. And he offered the burnt offering. And it came to pass that as soon as he had made an offering of the burnt offering, behold, Samuel came. Now Samuel was the priest. And Saul went out to meet him, and he saluted, and that he might salute him. Verse 11. And Samuel said, what hast thou done? Right? And Saul said, because I saw that the people were scattered from me, and that thou cast not within the days appointed, the Philistines gathered together at Mishmash. Verse 12. Therefore said I, the Philistines will come down upon me to Gilgal, and I have not made supplication unto the Lord. Now understand, it wasn't Saul's job to make supplications unto the Lord. So the people are scattered and lost because of what? The people are scattered and lost because they're following behind poor leadership, and this poor leadership doesn't follow the Most High God, right? But understand is that these people still followed Saul even after this, because right now you're going to hear Samuel telling him, like, no, brother, ain't what you're supposed to do, right? Let's see where it's at. I forced myself to make a burnt offering. And Samuel said unto Saul, thus hast done foolishly. Thou hast not kept the commandments of thy Lord thy God, which he has commanded thee, for now would the Lord have established the kingdom upon Israel forever. Right? So the kingdom would have, if Saul would have kept his commandments, the kingdom would have been established upon, our kingdom would have been established already, according to Samuel. They say, but now thy kingdom shall not continue. So where our kingdom at right now? Are we in our kingdom? We are not in our kingdom. You know why? Because we follow faulty leadership at the time, right? Now, what I'm going to do, Israel, is I'm going to give y'all another leadership, another place where we follow faulty leadership, right? And what happens to us when we follow faulty leadership. So that's why you got to get under this umbrella of the ISUPK, under Commanding General Yohanan, because this is real leadership, right? It was a video. I wish somebody had the video the other day. I had a video of, you get, it talks about how you get false prophets breaking up the Lord's holy group. And you know, if I say a holy group with a P at the end, not plural, because if you're not in the ISUPK, you're not in the truth. You're not there. You're not following truth, and you're not following the Most High God, right? And we can say that because everything we do is backed by these scriptures. We don't do things that's not backed by these scriptures. Even when it comes to wearing our fringes, you don't see us wearing our fringes on our t-shirts, drawers, and panties and stuff like that. We wear our fringes on our outer garments. You know, it's just something simple like that, right? So look here. Let's go to another scripture where we follow faulty leadership. And with following faulty leadership, I'm going to pull up some videos later on. I might pull up one in a minute that shows you what happens to us. And this is going to be modern day us following faulty leaderships, because this is going to be after Martin Luther King said, I had a dream, right? But his dream, he'll tell you at the end, right before they unalived him, Martin Luther King said, I think I led my people into a burning house, right? And with him saying, I've led my people into a burning house, why do you hear that I had a dream speech, right, that was re-rocked? He said that I have a dream speech before he was on that balcony. Before he was at the monument, he had already said that I have a dream speech. He had said it in Detroit at first. That's the first time he said it. So then he re-rocked it and said the same speech again. I'm like, you're a doctor. You could come up with another speech, right? Right. I came up with another class, and this was put on me last week, like, bro, handle class. Got it. We'll go to Exodus 32. Exodus 32 and 1. We'll start there, Exodus 32 and 1. And I want to show you some more of what happens when we follow bad leadership, right? Now, if you remember in Exodus 32:1, Moses was coming down out the Mount Sinai, right? So let's just read the scriptures. Exodus 32:1. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mountains, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, because you gotta understand, when Moses went into the mountains, he left Aaron in charge. Aaron, you in charge of these people, right? You in charge of these people till I get back, right? That's like when your mama leave the house and leave the oldest in charge. Your daddy leave the house, he leave the oldest in charge. You leave the oldest in charge, right? There's 4 or 5 kids in there. What's gonna happen if the oldest child is not of good content and good character. The house gonna be in shambles when them parents get back. And if the house is in shambles when them parents get back, it's gonna be some BTA. It's gonna be some BTA. You're gonna see the Lord give some BTA out as soon as when Moses came back and the house wasn't in order the way he left it. Think about it. The house was in order when he left it. So when Moses came back, some BTA had to be given out. So look here. And when this is Exodus 32:1, and when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, up, make us gods. Right now, they're not saying make them gods, like Aaron, make me a god. He's not saying Aaron, make me a god, right? Because you understand the scriptures say we are gods. That's later on down the road, right? He said, make us gods. So they're talking about crafting, hand making a god. It says, go back to it. It says, the people said unto him, up, make us gods, for which shall go before us, for as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt. Now you got to understand this. These people not even looking like the Most High God has brought them up out of the land of Egypt. They look at Moses brought us up out of the land of Egypt. No, Moses did not bring them up out of the Most High God led them up out of Egypt. Moses interpret what God wanted these people to do. So Moses was God's interpreter between the people, the liaison. That's what you'll call it nowadays, right? You got a lot of Christian church calling Christ Yahushua Mashiach God. Well, no, he's just the liaison, right? Yes, he's the king, but he's not the Most High God, right? So they're saying, these people saying Moses led them out of the land of Egypt. He said, we will not what is become of him. So they saying we don't know what has become of him. We don't know. 2. And Aaron said unto them, think about this. Now, Aaron is the leadership at the time. The people came to him saying, we need this, we need that, right? Aaron should have been like, no, you don't. Moses will be back. Moses said he was coming back. Chill. We just gonna have to deal with what's going on right now. We'll be all right. But Aaron said unto them, break off the gold earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, of your daughters, and bring them unto me. Verse 3, and all the people break off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. Slocky. Let me take these damn glasses off so I can see. And brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool. And he had made it a molten calf. Think about it. The molten calf was already a god in Egypt, right? This was one of the gods that Egypt worshiped. So molten calf, and said, think about this, and said, now understand what the scripture said. I'm gonna go back right here. And he said, and fashioned it and with a graving tool, after he made it a molten calf. Now watch this. He said, and said, these be your gods. He made one calf. And then he said, these be your gods. He said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which brought ye up out of the land of Egypt. Oh my. So now Aaron is being a false prophet right here, right? Because he's saying that these gods that he just made with his hand brought them up out of the land of Egypt. You see what happened when you got poor leadership, right? I'm giving you the history of poor leadership, right? We got to stop returning to this poor leadership. We can't keep returning to our own vomit. Israel, we cannot keep returning to our own vomit. With us returning to our own vomit, it will cause our destruction. We've seen that with Saul because people got scattered. Now we're about to see it again with Aaron. It says, And when, this is verse 5, and when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamations and said, tomorrow is a feast of the Lord. He just picked the day. Tomorrow, the feast of the Lord. And he talking about tomorrow, the feast of the Lord. Wait. Let me make sure this is all right. Tomorrow is the feast of the Lord. And they rose up early in the morrow, which would mean early the next day, early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. So what we just do a fire weekend. We ate some of them good burnt offerings. I bet you that chicken was good on that grill. Them burgers was good on that grill. Whatever food was on that grill was pretty good. So there was some burnt offerings, right? What did the kids do? The kids was playing. What did we do? Eat and drink and enjoy you enjoyed yourself, right, Israel? You eat and drink and you enjoy yourselves. That's the things that we do on our feast days and the days that we celebrate our good times together, right? We get together, cook, eat, drink, have a good time. We play some cards, play some dominoes. You got the kids out there playing, throwing the football around, hooping, playing basketball. You got some of the old niggas trying to play basketball, but they won't play no more this week, right? So you got things like that going on at these, I don't know what to call it. These, feast days. That's what it's called, feast days. In verse 7. And the Lord said unto Moses, go, get down there, for thy people which thou brought out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. You know how when a kid be bad and the parents be sitting there talking about the kid and all the bad stuff they did, and the parents say, the daddy say to the wife, go get your son. Go get your badass son. Why is your son doing this? Because the daddy know he didn't teach him to do that. He said, why is your son doing this? Right? The Most High God did the same thing with Moses because they had faulty leadership down there that Moses left in charge. He said, this is what he said. Look at this. Check it out. He said, go. Now Moses up in the mountain talking with the Most High God. The Lord told him to go, get thee down, for thy people for your people which you brought up out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. You know why? Because the Lord don't want no corrupt people. He don't want no corrupt people, right? You got to understand this, the Bible say the wages of sin is death. And with the wages of sin being death, guess what? You can't be the Lord's because he's going to cast you out. He's going to throw you away when you're in sin, right? Verse 8. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded thee, right? He says, so they turned away quickly. They turned away from what I commanded them. They have made a molten calf and have worshipped it and have sacrificed unto it and said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So, we serve a jealous God. So the Lord can't do something for you and you say, oh yeah, I did that myself. Or such did this for me. Now, when the Lord has blessed you with something, you have to understand that the Lord did this work. Right? Because if not, don't take it from you. Watch this. He says, and the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen these people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Verse 10, now therefore, let me alone. It's like, so the Lord said, man, get on. Leave me alone. Right? Say, leave me alone. That my wrath may wax hot against them. Right? Think about it. So now they're about to be punished. Why are they going to be punished? Because they followed. Anybody gonna answer me? All right. Well, they followed poor leadership. They followed bad leadership. They followed wrong leadership, right? Now understand, we just read about them following Saul. And now they follow Aaron with these golden calves. And the reason why I say they follow Aaron with this golden calf is because Aaron was responsible for them. Even though they asked for it, Aaron was responsible for them. When Aaron being responsible for them, he should have told them, no, y'all can't have this golden calf, right? Let's continue. He says, now look, the Lord told Moses, like, I'll take these people out and I'll make a nation out of you, right? So he's talking about taking out everybody except for Moses, Aaron included, because think about it, Aaron the one that created the golden calf. So Aaron was gone too. So the Lord was about to remove all of them except for Moses and make a nation out of Moses. Now look at this, verse 10. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation. Right? Watch this. But Moses loved his people. Now watch what Moses did. And Moses besought the Lord, his God, and said, Lord, why do thy wrath hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of Egypt with a great, powerful, and with a mighty hand? Now think about this. He said, Lord, why would you, why you don't brought these people out of Egypt with a powerful and mighty hand, right? With the power of your hand so mighty, right? Why would you be wrathful against wrath? Why would you raise your wrath against these people? Just, and he was like, just so the Egyptians could say that they guys brought them up out of Egypt just to destroy them, right? Verse 12. Where should the Egyptians speak and say, for mischief did bring them out to slay them in the mountains and to consume them for the face of the earth, right? So this is what poor leadership gets us, right? Now, if we move it up to today, we jump it to today. What does poor leadership get us? You get ghettos and burials. This is what poor leadership get us. You in the ghetto, you get poor schooling, right? With having poor schooling, you get a poor education, right? You get police brutality in the streets, right? You get these are the things that you get. You get your brothers and sisters on drugs, right? Smoking good crack rock, right? Smoking weed. What they doing now? Popping perks, right? That's what poor leadership will get you, and that's where we're at right now, right? Where is the leadership that the so-called church was supposed to give you? Talk to a brother in the ISUPK and ask him if he smoke weed. Ask him if he pop perks, right? Ask him if he knocking the hell out of his woman, right? Talk to these sisters. Ask these sisters, right? That's in the UPK. Do they got what they call it? Multiple men, right? No, they got one man. How long? Ask them how long they're gonna be with that man. They're gonna tell you ever, with a phone in front of it. That's what they're gonna tell you, right? I'm about to show you a video of some of the things that, right, us following some poor leadership, right? Because if we'd have followed the law, statutes, and commandments, we would have been on high. We'd have been a great nation. We would have been in our heaven if we followed the law, statutes, commandments. But we chose to do this, like choose faulty leadership and have the leadership, instead of leading, listening to the damn people. When you know what you're doing is incorrect, what you're doing is wrong. Tell you something, Israel. I've been on this all water kick, no juices, just all water, for like the last 3-4 days, and water make the body good. Try it out real quick. So look, I'm gonna show y'all something real quick. Let me see if I can find this. Let me share my screen real quick. Share screen. Now, what I'm gonna tell you this, Israel. What's going on now is that we are self-sabotaging ourselves. And when I say we are self-sabotaging ourselves, is that with us following this American leadership, right? Well, that's not following the law, statutes, and commandments of God. God tell you to do something, you choose to follow the laws of America. And what I mean by that is the Most High God tell you not to make marriages with these other nations, right? You become a ball player, right? What's the name? Tiger Woods. Bam! Golf club king, golf ball king, right? Guess what? He had the same issue Martin Luther King had. He couldn't stay away from them white women. He loved the snow bunny, right? And he wouldn't even get rich ones. He'll get po snow bunnies, and not poor, po. I mean, they couldn't afford the O and R. It's just po. Ain't got a damn dime, right? Brothers, if you get some money, go get you about 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 sisters, and make them your wives, right? And raise a nation, right? Instead of falling to the wrath of the bunny. Don't fall to the wrath of the bunny. Well, what you do is, who else you had? Name some of these other basketball players. Every one of them that messed with that Kardashian fall off. Ray J just got knocked the hell out the other day, and he talking about he hit it first. What was the basketball player that was found almost had it? He had an OD. He did have an OD. I cannot remember his name. He got a podcast now, but he had an OD. He OD'd from, and guess what? His downfall was messing around with them Kardashians, right? He's trying to get the nice Kardashian. Look at what was the Marvel actor who can't get a job in Hollywood now because he ran from a white woman, and they charged him with abuse because he ran from one. Look what was happening to these brothers, right? And guess what? The scriptures tell us not to make marriages with them, and that's what happens when we make marriage to us, right? Even in our own situations, if you make marriage to one of these, the Lord is going to punish you, and you have to accept it. Now, once you ask for forgiveness, that's between you and the Lord after that, right? But if you mess around with these things, the Lord is going to punish you, and it's going to be for a time. And you see all that happening to all the brothers that's doing I like to call it the infiltration of the snow bunny, but that's neither here nor there. Now, what I want to go into is how we let's go into some of the pros and cons of the segregation and the things that happened in the past, right? So this video I got right here, I'm gonna show a couple of things on it. It's going to be about, matter of fact, I'll just show it to you. Let me get going. Share screen. Dog garment segregation. That right there. We're gonna share that. Right. So I was looking at it earlier. Nope. Where I want to go to the 108-minute mark, right? So Israel. Can y'all see my screen? Make sure y'all can see my screen. Right? Let's play this. Let's go back to the 108 mark. And I want y'all to hear something.
I can just search it like I say it.
Yes, with Realtor.com's AI-powered search tools, you can skip the filters and
wide, and Black people continue to grapple with the challenge of acquiring basic needs. He tells tales of remarkable accomplishments. However, a startling paradox exists today. The Black race, once resilient.
Now you hear it, the Black race. He's going to tell you that the Black race was once resilient. We was resilient, right? Why was we resilient? Think about this. Think about the things that happened to us, right? 60, what is it? Slavery ended in 1865, right? Right after 1865, think about this. We built Wall Street, right? Wall Street was built before it was attacked in 1920, 1921, but it was built before then. So how many years after slavery did we build Black Wall Street? And what you got to understand about Black Wall Street is the thing about Black Wall Street is Black Wall Street had the second largest bank in the world. Black Wall Street had the second largest bank in the world in the 1919s, 1918, 1920. The second largest bank in the world. What does that mean, Black folk? That it had the largest bank in America, right? It had the largest bank in America.
Resilient in the pursuit of prosperity.
See that black folks were resilient in the pursuit of prosperity. But watch this.
Now represents the poorest demographic in the
Now represents the poorest demographic in America. That's by design. You know why? Why we fail? The churches, right? Following the leadership of other nations, right? Multiple reasons why we fail. But the main reason we didn't follow the law, statutes, and commandments of God, because we would have made that we had our own leadership over us, that we trusted, that trusted the hand of the Lord.
United States. The black-white wealth gap remains dishearteningly wide, and black people continue to grapple with the challenge of acquiring basic needs and maintaining wealth.
Right? Like I asked you, what happened during COVID? Where was the church at during COVID? Right? Where was the church at during these times? Think about it. These black folks still going to the church.
It might shock you to discover that this plight is not due to a lack of effort on the part of black individuals. Instead, a covert scheme operates right under our noses, silently sipping black wealth away. Systematic racism persists, demanding that black people work twice as hard for even a modest level of success. Yet upon reaching that...
Hold on. Now, you know, it said black people have to work twice as hard for a moderate reason of success. Now I'm about to go to the 635 mark, y'all. And when we go into the 635 mark, it's going to speak about this 635 mark. Hold on, I'm trying to find it, right? 635 mark. Now, when you go to the 635 mark, what you got to understand is it's going to speak about the where blacks, they lost land. Like families lost land. And the reason why families lost land, because they couldn't stay together. So you know what the white man do? The white man come in and separate and divide and conquer. That's his game plan. Watch this.
They wanted to keep the land. Other members could choose to sell it. White developers would end up preying on family miscommunication and taking control of the land.
Heard what he said? Other nations depending on miscommunication.
Especially when every family member could not be found to seek permission for selling the land. So even if some members of the family wanted to keep the land, other members could choose to sell it. White developers would end up preying on family miscommunication and taking control of the land. The next method used to scheme black people out of their land was tax sales. Tax sales.
Hold on. Everybody knows somebody that has lost a house to taxes, right? You never really own your land. These are the scams that they got us on.
That the land could be taken from its owners and auctioned off. In these cases, black people would want to stay on their land instead of selling it, but most of them lived on a fixed income. Consequently, many of these homeowners eventually found themselves unable to afford their annual property taxes. Once they were in default, the county would put the property up for auction. This was something that developers used as an advantage when they wanted to access land families didn't want to sell.
Let me get back to y'all real quick. Let's see. Right. So what you got to understand is look at the things that happen to us, right? We couldn't stay in our own land, right? We didn't follow law, statutes, and commandments. We followed poor leadership. And now we started to lose land. We started to lose property. We started to lose the things that we want. These developers preyed on a family not being able to keep the family house and the family farm because part of the family wanted to sell it for the proceeds. The other part of the family wanted to keep it, right, in the family for whatever profits they can make, right? Both of them was thinking about profitability of the land, right? But only one of them was thinking about developing the land. And they end up doing what? Losing the land. Understand this, our how can I say it? Our property, we get hit with bigger taxes. Think about what's going on. You always see that when you go somewhere, when you out in the city where the most black folk at, don't you notice the prices of everything higher? The cost of living is higher when you got some black folk around. That's purposely done. Now they're gonna tell you the house is cheaper. House costs less. That ain't $100,000 house. That's a $50,000 house. Right. And as soon as a white owner take over that house, now it's a $150,000 house. And all you did was change ownership. Let me show y'all this again. Hold on. Let me go back to sharing that. So y'all can see a little something else. A little extra. Go back. Let's share. Let me see if I can do it from here. Yep, sharing. See, I can do this. Oh, they ain't gonna let me do it from here. Okay, let me go back. I know what to do, folk. I know what to do. Let's go back. Play. Watch this.
The federal government writ large.
That's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Because I'm gonna play that one next about what's going on. Oh yeah, I can just do this. Uh-oh, I'm learning how to operate StreamYard, y'all. I'm gonna be good in a minute. Y'all sure y'all ain't got no questions? Twan, you ain't got a question? All right, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna wrap this out. Because I got a plethora of scriptures and everything. We're gonna make this nice tonight, y'all. Let's see where we at. Let's go back to screen. I gotta share that other video. That wasn't it. That got to be it right there. Yeah. Let's see. I guess I'm not as good as I thought I was. Let's do this. Hey, look, Israel. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm not as savvy as Yash Bayan and Kodash when it comes to this.
The third method was called the Torrens Acts. The Torrens Acts was based off of the Torrens systems, which was first used 1858 in Australia. It was developed by Sir Robert Torrens for the purpose of enhancing the certainty of title to land and to simplify dealings involving land. When introduced in the United States, the Torrens Act was supposed to be used to simplify title registry. Instead, it became a loophole that allowed third parties.
Now, folks. Now, I'm gonna keep playing that about that Torrens Act. But what I want you to understand is, that is, if our people, right? If our people would have had proper leadership, we wouldn't agree to none of these different taxations, different acts, right? We'd have fought them in the proper place, in a proper way, right? If we would have followed law, statutes, and commandments, we wouldn't have had to go through this anyway. We would have already had our houses and stuff like that set up. We'd have been living, you know what they say, we was kings and queens. Prove it. Right? How you prove it is you go through the Bible. The Bible lets you know we was kings. I ain't seen no queens in Israel. I seen a bunch of princesses though. But I did see some kings. Right? Did Saul or David or Solomon, right? And that's just to name a few. Did any one of them kings say they had a queen? If y'all find it, show me. If y'all find it, show me. Let's see. Let me continue with it. Sabotage.
To forcibly remove families from their property through partition sales. Partition sales take place when one of a property's owners wants to sell, but the others don't. The Torrens Act and related rules allowed sales to take place without the notification.
Think about it. So he said when one of the property's owner wanted to sell, but the others can't. The others did not want to sell. So this is the Torrens Act. Now, what the law is, if you got a house and your name on it and somebody else's name on it, you have to get consent by both of those people in order to sell that house, right? But with the Torrens Act, you don't have to do that. Listen to them.
Of family members or other co-owners of the land. Once the sale was made, the rules associated with the Torrens Act protected the buyer from any legal recourse by the owners who did not know about or agree to the sale. The cumulative effect of these methods used over a century to steal land or otherwise manipulate families out of their land was devastating. In Mississippi alone, the land stolen from 1950 to 1964 totaled up to 800,000 acres.
So many 800,000 acres, right? In Mississippi at that time was stolen from us, right? Because we got played by another family member, right? Because we were under poor leadership, and we keep going back to poor leadership. This is still happening now. right? This is still happening now. Let me get this other video for y'all real quick, right? But before we get this other video, let's get some more scriptures about following poor leadership and the effects of following poor leadership, right? Let's see. Let's go to Kings, 1 Kings 11 and 1. 1 Kings 11 and 1. 1 Kings 11 and 1. This is going to talk about our man Solomon. Right? Think about this. Now, I told her, the Lord tell us not to marry these strange women, right? This is 1 Kings 11 and 1. This is how the Solomon fall began. 1 Kings 11 and 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughters of Pharaoh, women of the Moabite, Ammonites, Edomite, Zebulite, Hittites. Now understand this, right? These women were of other nations, the Moabites, the Chinese, the Ammonites, Ammonites, I believe, is the Japanese. I believe. Don't. But I know the Edomites are the white women. So understand, these were women that were not part of the 12 tribes. So he loved these women. And in verse 2 it says, of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Right. Solomon clave unto these in love. So Solomon loved his wives. And guess what? Eventually, Solomon's, think about it. Solomon rich. He rich. So imagine you being a rich man, right? You're a rich man and your wife asks you for something. You're going to give the biggest and the greatest and the most wonderfulest part of it. Hold on. Let's see some of the comments. You got to tell me what you mean by wow, Tawanda. What was you talking about? She said, wow. What are you talking about? Right? So look, verse 3. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300. See, think about it. 700 wives. The wives called princesses. And so he said he had 700 queens. And he said he had 700 queens. Say wives, princesses, and 300 concubines. And his wives turned away his heart. Verse 4, for it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. So Solomon went from worshiping the Most High God to having birthday parties and celebrating Christmas. That's what he did. Right? So he went up to all these other things of the video. All right. Yeah. They was trying to get your property. Think about this, how much property black folk would have if it wasn't for these tax laws put up against them, this Torrance Act that's put up against them, right? Think about this. When black folk were ran off of cities like Rosewood and Black Wall Street, and then you had the, what you call that? The Red Summer of 1919, where they were unaliving us in the street. We own properties, and what you have to understand that over 60, I'm gonna find this the statistic, but over 65% of the people that was lynched during between slavery and the Jim Crow, they were business owners. Think about this. You got the business owners being lynched, the homeowners being lynched. What happens to that home when nobody show up to pay the taxes? So these lynchings were business tactics that our oppressor used in order to take over our properties. right? Bringing division in the home is another tactic that our oppressor used to take over our property. Let's continue. For it came to pass, this is verse 4. So it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord, his God, and as was the heart of David, his father, right? So think about it. His heart is not perfect. How can you get your heart perfect? The heart is your mind. This is what you think with up here in that big brain you got up there, right? Now, being perfect in the sight of the Lord, all you have to do is not sin. What's sin? Sin is transgression of the law. All you have to do is follow the law. All you got to do is follow the law so you can be perfect. These brothers in the ISUBK, these brothers are perfect, right? They're perfect because they don't commit no sin. They follow the law, statutes, and commands, law, statutes, and commandments of God. With them following these law, statutes, and commandments of God, guess what? They perfect in the sight of the Lord. When the Bible say that you're perfect in the sight of the Lord, it's just saying that nigga ain't sinning. He ain't marrying no white women. He ain't eating no pork. You know what I'm saying? He'll help out his brother in need if he got it. Help out a sister in need if she got it. If not, they'll figure out a way together. They'll figure it out together, right? Verse 5. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcah, the abomination of the Amalekites, right? And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord and went not fully after the Lord, as did David his father. Then did Solomon build an high place for Shemosh, the abomination of the Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and in Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. Verse 8, and likewise did for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrificed unto gods. And the Lord was angry with Solomon, because his heart turned from the Lord God of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice. And imagine if the Lord appeared unto you once, he appeared unto him twice. You know, you got a lot of people say, the Lord appeared unto me and said, I'm waiting for that day. Y'all, this is crazy, man. You know, I'm listening. The Lord appeared unto him twice, telling him about, hey, man, you got these bold wives, and you practicing these crazy rituals. Let's not do that, right, y'all? Well, we got a little bit of time left. I got this other video I want to show you. That video is about how we was, you know, we followed strange leadership, listening to strange people, and they made strange laws that brought us down. Now, understand, all this stuff will go away if we come together as a people and follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. We come together as a people and follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. Man, Christ will be here in an instant. But we don't want to come together. What's the cliche about? What is the cliche about black folk? That they don't want to come together. When the scripture tells us to come together. Let's continue. I'm about to pull up this other one for you, right? Now, understand that was how we was sabotage. Now, this other one is about some segregation, right? Segregation issues that also cause us to fall folly, right? But every time these oppressors bring these tactics in, we cleave to our oppressor and separate from our people. We got people now moving from inner cities to areas where, you know, is majority of their oppressors. Not because they have to, because they want to. And the first thing is, you know, they'll say because it's a better neighborhood, it's safer. It's safer for who? Right? What's the Boston player? Wilt Chamberlain, not Wilt Chamberlain, the other one. I can't remember his name. I had to the what's the brother with the most rings in the NBA? Not Will Chamberlain. Hold on. Who has the most? Let me look it up for you because I want to tell y'all something about this brother before I go to this next article. Bill Russell. Bill Russell, balling for the Boston Celtics, right? Bill Russell, balling for the Boston Celtics, has the most rings in the NBA, right? With 13 of them, right? Yeah, 11 or 13. Let me see. Championships during his 13-year career, he got 11 rings. So he got one for every finger, and then he put one on the table. Understand that Bill Russell's house was vandalized, right? And he has a story. I'm gonna see if I can find it for you. Bill Russell has a story where he speaks about his house being vandalized, and with his house being vandalized, the things that they did, the nasty things that they did to his house. Right now, understand, Bill Russell, when he started to get that NBA money, Bill Russell started to, guess what? Get away from his people. Almost says you niggas. Right? So he did that to get away from his people. Let me see if they're gonna let me see it. Bill Russell's house vandalized. Bill's Russell house. That's not it. That's the one. Bill Russell, Boston Celtics, hard times. I'm gonna have to show you. You know what, Israel? I'm gonna have to show that to y'all the next time. Right? I don't want to take too much time with trying to search it out, but I think it's this video here. See, I think it's this video here. You know what, y'all? I'm about to find it. I can't find it real quick, so I'm gonna have to find that for y'all another day. I'm gonna find it for you another day. But let me close these and close these. Let's pull up this other video. Now, this video here. This is what happened to us. Let's go back here. Now, let's see. Can y'all? Oh yeah, y'all can see it. Yeah, watch this, y'all.
Like many songs will tell you,
bullet holes left in my peepholes.
the story of what housing and other living conditions look like for many Black Americans is pretty bleak. And that's by design. In addition to artists cataloging their...
Now, y'all know that it's been a plethora of artists that speak about how they grew up in the ghetto, right? If so many artists grew up in the ghetto and so many entertainers grew up in the ghetto, why don't all these artists and these entertainers come back to the ghetto and build up the ghetto?
Their very personal experiences.
Used to fuss when the landlord dissed us, no heat. Wonder why Christmas missed us.
It's been...
Biggie is one of the rappers that spoke about he ain't have nothing growing up. He said he ain't have no heat, right? No heat. You ever been in the house with no heat in the wintertime, right? When you ain't got no heat, you ain't got no hot water. You know why? Because the gas run the stove, and the gas run that bath water. So you gotta watch cold tail.
It's been proven that the modern phenomenon of concentrated Black poverty was an intentional government-sponsored institution.
Hold on, you heard what she said. Black poverty was an intentional. Hold on, let y'all hear this for yourself.
It's been proven that the modern phenomenon of concentrated Black poverty was an intentional government-sponsored institution.
Right? So, do you know what that means? Your poverty is sponsored by the government. The reason why you broke right now. Now, they'll let a couple of cats get out the ghetto and hoop, play some football, sing and rap, right? But they won't teach you their financial systems. Nah, Officer Natazab of Detroit, he doing that trading. And if you're in ISUPK, all you gotta do is call him up. Just call him up and he'll teach you how to do it for nothing. That's a good brother right there.
This is in part why President Biden issued an executive order back in January intended to right the historical wrongs Black folks have faced when it comes to housing and home ownership in this country. But first, let's take it back.
The dawn of the 20th.
Hold on, let's move this up some. I want to go to the 6 minute. Where I want to go to? I want to go to the 2 minute mark, y'all. We ain't got much time. Let me go to the 2:19 mark real quick. I want y'all to hear something.
Previously called Colored Town during segregation.
The Department of Housing and Urban Development and the federal government writ large in the first 7 decades of the 20th century invested billions of dollars in racial segregation. Government writ large in the first 7 decades of the 20th century invested billions of dollars in racial segregation. Government writ large in the first 7 decades of the 20th century invested billions of dollars in racial segregation.
So my question to you is, why would the government invest billions of dollars? Did she say millions or billions? Hold on, let's go back. So I don't want to be incorrect.
The Department of Housing and Urban Development and the federal government.
The Department of Housing and Urban Development
writ large.
Went large
in the first 7 decades of.
In the first 7 decades of the coming of America
of the 20th century, invested billions of dollars in racial segregation and concentrated poverty. Each time this country created a peculiar institution that subordinated Black people, slavery, Jim Crow, it created and dismantled it. They replaced it with another one. It created and dismantled it. They replaced it with another one. It created and dismantled it. They replaced it with another one.
DJ Khaled, another one. Here, another one. Right. So it's multiple. What you have to understand that the government is not your friend. Right. This American government is not the friend for Blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics, because these are the same things that went on in their neighborhoods too. These are the same things that went on in the barrios and the reservations and in the ghetto. The same exact thing. They have the same game plan, right? And we don't come together and talk to each other enough to notice that, hey, this is the same game plan they put on my people, right? This is the same game plan they put on the Native Americans. Right? This is the same game plan. And with them putting the same game plan on each and every one, why we keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe? Why we keep falling for it? Let me give you a little bit more.
And the iconic Black ghetto, I don't use that as a pejorative. I use it as a.
Now y'all heard that white lady say it. She had to use it. She's saying the iconic Black ghetto, right? Now, then she had to go back and back up. Like, I'm not using it in a derogatory way. I'm not. Well, I'll let you hear it again. It ain't my word.
Dismantled it. They replaced it with another.
So y'all see her, right?
One.
What'd she
And
say?
the iconic black ghetto, I don't use that as a pejorative. I use it as a descriptor, was a follow-on.
Look, white people only say nigger and rap when they rapping. They only say the nigger in raps. And I ain't heard one nigger in a rap. Man, the white folk only use nigger. And she said, I don't use it as discriminatory or I don't.
One institution to slavery and Jim Crow. That's the legacy that every new administration inherits, and the Biden administration has as well.
Today,
that every new administration inherits, and the Biden administration descriptor was a follow-on institution to slavery and Jim Crow. That's the follow-on institution. Now
look at this. She said every legislation has a follow on slavery and Jim Crow, and every legislation come up with something new. Is that not what she said?
One institution to slavery and Jim Crow. And the iconic black ghetto, I don't use that as a pejorative, I use it as a descriptor, was a follow-on institution to slavery, Jim Crow. It created and dismantled it. They replaced it with another one. And the iconic black ghetto, I don't use that as a pejorative, I use it as a descriptor, was a follow-on institution to slavery and Jim Crow. That's the legacy that every new administration inherits. And
that's the legacy that every new administration inherits.
And the Biden administration has as well.
today, I'm directing the Department of Housing and Urban Affairs and Urban Development to redress the historical racism in federal housing policies.
This executive order is just one of 4 signed by President Biden, designed to address racial equity in the.
Now, let me tell y'all something. Now, Biden signed that bill, whatever that bill was, he signed it into law. And I'm gonna say this to you, black folk that celebrated the 4th of July last month. If every man is created equal, why would Biden have to sign that into law? You created equal, right? So why would you have to sign that into law when you created equal? Hey, look, I got 2 people in this class. I need 2 likes. I got 2 people. Give me 2 likes. Start me off there. Stall me out. You playing with me, Smalls? I see I got 2 people in the class. I should have 2 likes. Somebody playing with me. Somebody ain't watching the class. I say I have 2 likes and 2 comments.
The United States. And while this progress is a step in the right direction, there's still a lot of harm to undo.
Segregation started coming down after the passage of the Fair Housing Act of 1968, which actually only got passed in the wake of Dr. Martin Luther King's assassination. After the passage of the Fair Housing Act of 1968, which actually only got passed in the wake of Dr. Martin Luther King's assassination.
So what they did was they took King out, and then, because what they're going to do is they're going to take a lot from you and give you a little, right? They're going to take a lot from you and give you a little. So what they did was they assassinated your lying-ass preacher leader, Martin Luther King. I like to call him Orgy Mike, because Mike liked to have orgies, right? So they assassinated him, right? Destroyed some of the coming together of black people. It was already being destroyed because, I heard older men and women say that King was a traitor. And I didn't hear that until maybe a couple years ago when I started to go talk and interview individuals with the ISUPK. And I started to hear him say, that's when I started to hear him say that these black men and women looked at Martin Luther King as a traitor.
In 1980, 8 out of 10 black people would have had to move in order to be Martin Luther King's assassin. In 1980, 8 out of 10 black people would have had to move in order to be evenly integrated within metropolitan areas. Half of black people who live in metropolitan areas still live in neighborhoods of high segregation. So, assassination. In 1980, 8 out of 10 Black people would have had to move in order to be evenly integrated within metropolitan areas. Half of Black people who live in metropolitan areas still live in neighborhoods of high segregation.
So, you hear what she said? Half of Black people still live in areas of high segregation. You know why? Because the other half live with their niggas, with their people, right? Understand that I grew up in Detroit, and it was a time where the police officers had to live in Detroit. Now, some of them lad and got houses together and lived out, in the burbs still, but most of them, most of the police officers and the firemen had to live in the city of Detroit, right? So you would have a police officer or a fireman on your block. A lot of times you had a police officer or a fireman, if not both, on your block. Now, for those people that live in the inner city now, especially in Detroit, how many people know a police officer or a fireman on their block? I know dope houses with, on the block. Where the policeman at? Where is the policeman?
So we've had modest improvement, but segregation persists. And economic segregation has spiked since 1970. The so-called American dream is only working for a relatively small slice the so-called American has spiked since 1970. The so-called American dream is only working for a relatively small slice of the population that can afford to buy their way into what I call gold standard neighborhoods that have the dream. It's only working for a relatively small slice of the population that can afford to buy their way.
Let me ask you a question. Tawana, do you know what the American dream is? Anybody in the chat, do you know what the American dream is? Because she said the so-called American dream is only working for a small percentage of the people. With the so-called American dream only working for a small percentage of the people, what's going on? Oh yeah, I just got a message from the captain, and I have to type in Khan Adawan Khan. Now let's get back to this stuff here, right? So, I know what I was doing. I was about to get y'all with something. I asked y'all, what's the American dream? Want to know what it is, because I don't want to tell you what the American dream is. What is it? That's that Great Gatsby, right? This say the American dream is the national belief that anyone, you hear that? Anyone, regardless of where or what circumstance they were born into, can achieve success, prosperity, upward mobility, and personal fulfillment through hard work. Right? I've worked real hard. I ain't got no part of the American dream. I do got a whole lot of this American nightmare, but I don't want that American dream. What I want Christ's return. That's what I want. I want Christ's return. I want rulership. I don't want no damn American dream. I want rulership, right? I want to say, get out the street, Saltine, and it not be frowned upon. right? Look what's happening every time you turn around. It's a Caucasian with an AR-15, and he's shooting up somewhere. You know, look what just happened in Iowa. Was it Idaho? Something in Georgia, right? Just about all the way across the nation. You have a Caucasian with an AR style rifle. I think AR style rifles should be banned. Any rifle should be banned from Caucasians. I think the NRA should get together, and if they want to stop these mass shootings, they should ban guns being sold to the Caucasian, because he's using them to not only self-destruct, but to destroy other lives, right? These Caucasians are running out and they're shooting up, innocent individuals and unaliving them. And then some of them going back and unaliving themselves, when we wouldn't have had the problem if they'd have just unalived themselves in the beginning. They'd unalive themselves in the beginning, we wouldn't have the other individuals that what was the one that went to the grocery store? He went and staked out the grocery store multiple days, talked to the security guard, right? And then went back and unalived that same security guard and multiple others that he had talked to. What was the Dylan Roof kid? The Dylan Roof kid stalked that. So what I want to tell you, if you have a young Caucasian male that's new to your little camp, your little clique, something like that, keep an eye on his ass. Keep an eye on him, because and if he come back, regularly, keep an eye on him, because he's not coming back to learn. He's not coming back to fellowship with you. Whatever it is, you might have a book club. He's not coming back to read no damn books. He ain't got the book in his hand. He don't know nothing about the book y'all supposed to be reading. He's coming back with that AR style rifle, and he's going to unalive as many people as he can. These individuals that go into these churches and these schools, they've been through these churches and these schools many times. They stalk their prey. Look at Lamentations 4:17. They stalk their prey. They are blessed with the sword. They are excellent hunters, right? These people know how to hunt. So you have to be careful of what we say all the time, you got to be careful of the company you keep. You got to be careful of the company you keep. So think about these parishioners that Dylan Roof unaligned. They wasn't careful of the company that they kept, right? And we keep saying this, like I said at the beginning of the class, we are dogs returning to our vomit because we keep allowing this to happen, right? We keep company with individuals that want to destroy us, and they do. Nolan Wells, Carmelo Anthony. Think about it. Just because you continue on. I wish I knew the name of the sister that was at the sleepover. The only sister at the sleepover. Next morning, found unalived. She the only sister at the sleepover, right? And every time Black people go amongst these oppressors and they are unalived, the first and everything, all the homicide detectives want to say it was a self-suicide. So he unalived himself, or she unalived herself, right? You have the sister that went to Miami for the Juneteenth, found hanging from a tree, and they said she unalived herself. You don't go down to Miami to party like a rock star and unalive yourself in a way that Black people don't do in public. Black people do not unalive themselves from a tree in public. Why a tree? It could have been a swing set. It could have been anything. It could have been a jungle gym. Why it's always a tree? Because there's a certain people that was familiarized during the lynchings and Jim Crow, and they're known for unaliving Black people by a tree. Think about it. They hung Christ on a tree. That's one way you could tell he was Black. because they hung him on a tree, and they still hanging us on trees today. That don't make sense. Do it make sense to you, black folk? They unalive Christ on a tree, right? Why wouldn't they unalive you on the tree? So look here, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. You know, we are the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana, started in 1969. Harlem, 125, Harlem, New York, 1 West. That's what, hey y'all, that's what we are. And we here to teach our black folks, Native American folks, Hispanics folks, who they are according to the Bible, right? That's what we do each and every day, right? Get into your nearest ISUPK class, right? If you need the number, type in something in the chat. We'll get it to you. We'll get you, tell us where you're at. We'll get you the nearest UPK school. Get in there and learn with your brothers and sisters, right? And then you're going to get in there with your brothers and sisters, and you're going to learn that there is no possibility of having a Dylann Roof situation at our schools. There's no possibility of having a Dylann Roof situation at our schools. No way in the world one of these unalivers are going to come up into our school, break bread with us, and then dump clip after clip after clip. It's not going to happen in the UPK. So if you want a safe place to learn who you are, black man, Native American man, Hispanic man, sisters, ISUPK. You want to learn the truth? ISUPK. If you ain't at the ISUPK, you ain't in the truth. With that, I'm going to say shalom, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai to the brothers, Yahweh Shamar Latah, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai to all the sisters. Black folk, let me tell you something. Take care of yourself. Black man, Native American man, Hispanic man, get in the ISUPK.
Shalom. This is to all Israelite groups and all Israelite communities and all breakoffs from 1 West and breakoffs from breakoffs from breakoffs, no matter what rainbow uniform you wear, red, white, purple and white, all white, it don't matter. You should all treat the ISUPK like your weird, misunderstood Sabbaths. You shouldn't do anything until you counsel with the ISUPK. We'll tell you when and what to eat. We'll tell you who to marry. We'll tell you who to have sex with and how. We'll tell you how to resolve conflicts with your wives. We'll tell you how to resolve conflicts with your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your friends, everybody. We'll tell you when and how to pray. We'll tell you how to direct your life in a way that's pleasing to the Most High God of Israel and our Black King Yahushua, a.k.a. Jesus Christ. We will be to you instead of a God. Just like the Most High told Moses in Exodus 4:16 that Aaron would be to him instead of a mouth and he would be to Aaron instead of a God, that's what we'll do for you. It is what you all need because none of you know what the fuck you are doing. I pray you understand. Shalom.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man, if you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're 1 West. They're 1 West. They're 1 West. They're